All
Dadgummit.
right. I am trying not to say it again this week like I do every week. I'm trying not to say the same words. I'm biting my tongue not to say it.
You know, what was that word we used to be hung up on all the time? I can't remember what it was. What was it? Remember, we early on when we were doing our shows, we kept saying that stupid word all the time, and we were like, we got to stop
Sir,
saying that word.
there was circle back. There's some other buzzwords. I used to, when I was teaching classes, computer classes and network classes full time decades ago, I used to have a bell, and so I would practice the classes, the presentations first, and every time I'd say a buzzword, I'd have somebody ding me. It's like Pavlovian dog experiment to force me not to say and all that stuff, which I say every now and then as well, even though I know not to.
Yeah, I wish I could remember what it was. And then we had Tuesdaygate. Remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We had to change our language because but that
Can't
was
can't say
educational.
a see you blankety blank Tuesday. Fill in the
Yeah,
blank.
that was educational because I had no idea. I did not know that was a thing. I mean,
I did not either, and I kind of keep up with that because I'm all over social media all the time, and I didn't even know that one was a new one on me.
I learned at that moment I am now an old dude.
Yeah. Hey, I've been having fun with Chat GPT and AI. Have you seen all these cartoon caricatures I've been posting?
You you don't say.
Imagine that.
How could I not notice?
I've just been having a blast. I mean, it's been hitting it, pretty much out of the park with most of that stuff. So I've been having fun with it. Hope everybody's not getting tired of it. I'll tire of it in a few more days and not post as many of them, probably. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you have been high achieving in that regard. I will give you credit for that.
Yeah, and we make no bones about it. We both use AI quite a bit, but here's the thing, I'm not dependent on the AI. The AI is like having an assistant to me. Instead of me having to sit down and type everything and wordsmith everything, I can throw a few prompts in there and it gets it usually right. I try to kind of double check it, and I may change a little bit of wording here and there. But as far as those caricatures, those are awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. um, a lot of people are starting to do that, and
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting seeing some of the stuff people are putting out there, and people are using AI like crazy now. I mean,
Yeah.
they better
Well,
hope like heck. They better hope like heck Elon gets those data centers going because if it don't, they ain't going to be on the ground. They're going to have to be in space. Everybody's fighting
yeah.
them.
And look, we were in the outdoor news segments. We won't go down that pathway too much, but we've been doing some AI stuff and some caricatures, and lo and behold, our nemesis in the I won't say the name of their group, but our nemesis in the corn deal. Now they're doing it, but they're Johnny come lately. We were first doing that. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that just shows you where they are in the debate. They are not on the front end. They're following the lead is what they're doing. And
Yeah, so looks like we got Rusty Maddox is here. Val Baker says he shared everything out. We've got, I don't know, 30 something people watching and tuning in. We are going to skip the countdown again this week. We're kind of getting away from the countdown because that helps us with the YouTube search algorithms when we just pretty much get into the show and what we're going to talk about. So, speaking of that, what are we going to talk about tonight? I've kind of got it up there on the screen with our cool little graphic. You stirring the pot as
well,
usual, and I'm banging away at the keyboard.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that ladle. The only thing wrong with that image is there should have been two ladles being used to stir rather than just one, because
Yeah.
some weeks I mean, you are the king, and then there's a time or two that I'll acknowledge it's me as well too. But on that particular one image, I got to tell you, I give you credit because up until this point, you always put yourself as having a hat. Finally, you don't have a hat.
Yeah. Hey, and well, if you remember, for the first while on the show, I didn't wear a hat that much, and then as I got back into fishing, I used to wear a hat nonstop 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and then I don't even know why. I just kind of quit wearing a hat. And then I started doing it again. So I don't know. I just guess I can't make up my mind on my innate fashion sense.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah, right.
it's good though. It's look, I appreciate it. I really do. So
Yeah.
talking about stuff, man, there's a lot of stuff going on across the country, locally. I mean, Caddo Parish has their stuff going on. The state has their stuff going on. And so we're going to talk about even party politics and qualifying. So a lot of y'all may not know. If you want to run for the U.S. Senate or a congressional seat, by all means, qualifying is not over with. It started yesterday. Today was the second day, and you can still qualify tomorrow. There'll be that opportunity. In fact, um, Julia Letlow, I think, will be flying back from DC probably tonight, and probably will go qualify tomorrow to run for Senate. And you know that's happening. So we're going to talk about that in the show here in just a minute, as well as aren't you running down something to do with one of these homeowners associations? And there's some big hubbub going on here locally.
Yeah, and so as a matter of fact, where's that comment there? Mandy Smallwood. She says she's here for the Rosedale HOA info. All right, well, here's the deal, Mandy. So I was sent a message, and I don't want to say his name just yet. We're going to interview him for the show. I reached out to him, got his voicemail today. He sent us a message. I reached back out, got his voicemail. We've just been playing phone tag, I guess. But there's a fellow that reached out to us via Facebook, and he says, and I quote, "I would really like to come on your program and talk about the illegal behavior of the Rosedale Place HOA," and left his email and his phone number. So we don't have too much to report about it, but I can tell you, Mandy, that we are either going to interview this gentleman or live on next Thursday. We may have him, depending on his work schedule or whatever. I don't know. We may have him on for a special show or just a special interview, and then we'll post that. So we haven't made the determination on exactly what we're going to do as far as the format, but we are going to talk about it. I can't imagine what an HOA is doing that's illegal. I know HOAs are a pain in the rear end. There is zero doubt about that. Look, I can tell a good story real quick about Tiburon. One of my good friends for I don't know, 40 years lives in Tiburon. He tried to talk me into moving in and buying or building a house when they were first doing that, and I'm glad we did not do that. But anyway, he had hell with his HOA over. He built a portable building, a shed in his backyard, a really nice one. And they were trying to tell him, oh, it's too big, or you don't have the pitch of the roof right, and all this other crap. And he literally had his lawyer send him a letter, and he drove around and sent pictures of all the illegal or against HOA rules, violations of everyone else's sheds, roofs, paint jobs, everything else. So when you correct these people, then you can come talk to me. And so in the end, he settled on they had him move his shed
Uh,
3 feet. Literally,
oh,
he had
dude.
to hire a guy with one of those old deals that jacks up and move his shed because it was mostly built, except for he had to finish the interior. Literally move it 3 feet. But in the end, he got his shed and he didn't have to tear it down. So
Oh, good grief.
yeah, let's see. Mandy says so. Let me check into the. Okay. There he is. Gary Alderman says I am retired, can be there anytime. All right, great, Gary. I don't know how we've been missing communication. I did call you and leave you a voicemail. So let's talk tomorrow by phone. And then if we need to, I'll interview you or we'll have you on next Thursday or we'll do a special show depending on mine and Duke's schedules one evening. We'll just launch a special show or something like that. So let's get together tomorrow by phone. Gary, you are more than welcome to have at it and Mandy in the comments. Remember, no takebacks. We leave all of this stuff up. So if you put something in the comments, make sure that you need to say it, but y'all are more than welcome, and we may show some of the comments on the screen as we're going. Okay, so I've been rambling on, Mr. Lowry. What else? What's this deal with Mike Echols?
Oh, well, look, I mean, it's politics at its finest, and so there's a lot of things happening with congressional races, the Senate races, and that Julia Letlow congressional seat is pretty doggone amazing. The number of people that have poured into that race,
Yeah.
but a lot of people who've taken positions early
Mm-hmm.
and thrown out a lot of shots and
Mm-hmm.
got to making a lot of criticisms and things like that. Boy,
Little egg
boy,
on the
they
face now.
well that or I keep envisioning that shovel digging that hole that you're standing in, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and
Yeah.
then you get to a point. How the hell are you going to climb out of that hole?
Well, we've got an interesting video to show here in a little bit whenever we get to it of Mike Echols. I guess you could call it campaign launch video or whatever it was. And look, my position is going to kind of be the same as it was between Fleming and Miguez when Blake was in the Senate race. Now he's jumped ship and over in that congressional race. But my position's kind of the same between Blake and Mike Echols. I like them both. They're both cool guys. I mean, Echols has got a point. We'll hear in the video here in a minute. He does have a little bit of a point. I'll give him credit. But look, personally, I like both guys. They're both great guys.
Yeah, absolutely. But but especially, I mean, look, Democrats. We're going to primarily talk about it from the standpoint of a Republican angle, but this is a Democrat thing as well too. With closed party primaries, because that's what set all this up. And you may be scratching your head because, and this is going to be the deal, you like everybody, and then they go to getting after each other, and you're like, wait a minute, y'all are all from whatever your perspective is, y'all are both good guys, and y'all are saying this guy's a bad guy and that guy's a bad guy now. And wait a minute, I
Mm-hmm.
thought all of you were good guys. And
Yeah,
well,
it's part of the game.
yeah, iron sharpens iron. Well, we're going to use this opportunity to kind of break it down for y'all and just show y'all and you know
Yeah,
I
and,
think
and
Benton, you've been on top of Benton and the town council thing there.
yeah. Well, now to be clear, I haven't gone through it word by word and video and post by post. I, follow Chris Redford's posting, and he goes to those Benton Town meetings because, of course, he lives in Benton as well. And so I follow his post, but I also follow Tiffany Manning's post, Miss Carr's post, and boy, they have been just doing a tit for tat. And it's the old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I guess we'll talk about it in detail here in a little bit, but let's just say there's some shenanigans going on. I'm really, truly thinking about going to those meetings. Well, I guess we could go up there and request the video and get a copy from Stephanie. She was gracious enough to, make a copy for us the last time we requested. They do record all their meetings with good audio. They just don't post it anywhere. But I guess we're going to have to start requesting those, or I'm just going to have to go up there with the camera again and video. I don't know. But yeah, some more shenanigans. So we'll talk about that. And we need to get on our soapbox about the parades, I guess. Let's start off the show talking about the parade. So now that we've talked about what we're going to talk about, let's get into the parade posturing, get that out of the way.
Well, We're not the only ones with problems with parades. Apparently, did you hear about New Orleans?
Well, I did when I saw the video that we're going to show here in a minute. I didn't realize at that time that there was a problem going on. Maybe we'll watch that video first because that'll really key me up and I'll get on like my tiptoes on my soapbox.
Well, yeah. Let's start out with that. We've got Senator Kennedy is at the lectern in the U.S. Capitol, and he's talking about Mardi Gras parades in New Orleans. Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? And who knew that there would ever be trouble at a Mardi Gras parade in New Orleans? I mean, I thought they all just went swimmingly well.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I'm shocked too. All right, here we go. Here is Senator Kennedy coming up.
The crew of Carrollton sponsored a float. Wonderful people in the crew of Carrollton, one of the oldest crews we have. But there were some knuckleheads on one of those floats. And they were taking bunches of beads and trying to hurt the cops with them. Now, the cops are not looking at the floats. The cops are looking at the crowds. And the cops are watching the people to make sure they don't have too many cocktails and try to run between floats and get run over. And the cops are watching the children because we have a lot of our kids. We bring a lot of our kids. The cops are not looking. They're not going, throw me something, mister. They're doing their job. And 41 people on one of the crew of Carrollton floats were throwing beads and toys and other stuff trying to hit the cops in the face. And it wasn't just one or two. It was disgraceful. The police had to shut down the parade, to their credit. They shut her down.
I'm going to pause it for a second. You know that old saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight? Well, I would think if I were up on the float, I mean, I've got an elevated position, but, no gun, and I'm going to throw beads at the cops who have guns? I mean, don't bring beads to a gunfight, people. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, look, they were probably throwing Twinkies as well, too. Or what's that other one? Not a Twinkie, moon pie. They were probably throwing moon pies.
Rainbow Skittles or something down there. All right, let's listen to him finish up.
Pulled all 41 people off this float. Said, you're out.
That's awesome. Everybody off the float now.
Did the right thing. And it's embarrassing for me to have to say this, that this happened in my state, in my city, but it did. And it's no secret that many of my people in New Orleans think that cops are a bigger problem than criminals. This is America. You can believe what you want. And a lot of people, we went through the defund the police, jackassery. And a lot of my people in New Orleans, it's a sanctuary city. I know they say they're not, but most of my local law enforcement officials don't cooperate with ICE. They think the borders ought to be wide open. I don't. It's against the law. But this is America. They can believe that. But you can't hurt cops. And these 41 people, after receiving due process, if they did this, they shouldn't just be disciplined. Oh, you can't ride next year. They need to prosecute. And the people in New Orleans need to demand it. Acts have consequences. And you don't have the right to hurt cops just because you don't like them. I've said this many, many times. I get in trouble every time, but I believe it. If you hate cops just because they're cops, next time you get in trouble, have at it. Call a crackhead.
So, I mean, I don't know why that came up in my feed. Maybe I was having a conversation and AI decided, you know what, I need to show you Senator Kennedy talking at the U.S. Senate about Mardi Gras parades or something. But he's not wrong. It's embarrassing for us to talk about, but anybody that's been to a Mardi Gras parade is not shocked that this crazy stuff goes on there. I mean, so when this stuff was Shreveport, I'm not shocked at all.
All
No
right.
surprise.
So let me get started, but feel free, Mr. Lowry, to interject at any point and yank me off my soapbox. All right. In the first place, we typically, for those of you that are new to the show, we usually don't cover stuff unless it has some kind of political tie-in. We don't do what I phrase and what I call the ambulance chasing. There are plenty of other website or Facebook pages and places that you can go get that on social media. And so we just, we don't do it. It's got to have some kind of political tie-in unless it's just a, extreme circumstance. In this case, I kind of felt that it was just on the sheer volume of shares of the original video. I'm not going to roll the video tonight because you can go back on our Facebook page and watch it, but it is the video of the Crew of Centaur parade last weekend where the girl, was pretty darn rude and ugly and, supposedly threw beer on the lady. I couldn't really see that part of it in the video. Maybe there's other video that shows that.
Well, do you want me to stop you as you're going along telling this, or do you want me to wait till you're done? Because
Either way, if you got something to interject,
I've got something that I want to interject. So I
Okay.
watched this video and I heard the allegations that you've made up to this point.
Right.
Well, I got some questions. When I watched that video, I saw what I thought was a liquid flying through the air. It appeared to me to be there was one group of people on the left side of the screen and one group of people on the right side of the screen. And what I hear as being the allegation of the direction to which the liquid was flying, it was been verbally said that it was coming from the people on the left side of the screen going to the right. But my observation on the video, looking close at it, was the liquid wasn't coming from left to right. It was coming from right to left. Another point. I looked at the people on the left that supposedly, allegedly threw the liquid. It looked like they had the cups with the caps on them, so you don't spill your stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? That are sealed on the top.
Right.
You couldn't throw a liquid out of those if you wanted to. Now,
well, so let me interject because I'm, the first time I saw the video, I thought the girl from Bossier was absolutely being rude in the context of that video,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely out of line, out of place. To be honest, she was being a bitch.
But is that anything you've not ever heard at a Mardi Gras parade?
That's where I'm going to get back up on my soapbox because we generally attend the Mardi Gras parades almost every year. But because of shenanigans like that, I've gotten to where, honestly, and my best friends are watching the show or will be or whatever, I honestly don't care whether I go to Mardi Gras every year or not. I don't like standing around and hanging around and drinking, it's not my thing anymore. I'd rather go fishing, or do whatever. But I do go because I like the friendship and the fellowship of being around everybody. But, it's just not my thing, not my cup of tea. It's not something I look forward to every year. I don't care. Look, I was going to be just fine and dandy if they would have canceled the parade for Saturday because of the weather. I would have been just fine and dandy because I'd have got my slicker suit on and I'd have went to the lake. But here's the deal. We have a reserved spot down there along the duck pond. My friends have reserved that spot for, 10 or 15 years now. We all chip in a little money and, to cover the food and everybody kind of brings their own alcohol, but to cover food and to help cover the cost of the spots and the porta potty that we rent and the whole 9 yards. Okay. And I will say this, even then, even doing that, we have a certain way that we park our vehicles. Literally, when we pull up there in our trucks, we have somebody out there spotting us to get them bumpers touching, because people love to run down there and cut between your vehicles, and every now and then somebody will stop and they want to look in your vehicle and see what's going on. So we literally like pack our vehicles in like sardines, and that's behind our spot, like on the hill where the duck pond is. And even when we have those spots reserved that we've paid the city of Shreveport for, it's inevitable when the floats are coming. We all have kids there, generally younger kids and all that. And we're trying to hold them up and let them catch beads. And some jackasses they'll get right in front of you and stop. Like you're standing on the curb and holding the kids up. They'll come right in front of you on the street and try to yank the beads or grab the beads in the air from the kids. Now, we got a bunch of guys standing around and big old boys too. So we don't tolerate a lot of crap, but I will tell you, it is fun, but a lot of that goes on. Now, back up several years, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago when our boys were little, we used to go get a spot down there where, what's that Chinese restaurant? Ming Garden and McDonald's and all that is, and Podna's Barbecue on the Shreveport side over there across the bridge. So we used to go down there at, early that morning, as soon as they open the thing up, kind of stake out our spot, put our pop-up up and all that. And that's just a free-for-all down there. Because again, when the parade comes, you can be standing right there on the edge of the street like you're supposed to, and people don't care. They just run and cut in. They'll literally try to shove you or your kids out of the way to grab beads. It's just ridiculous. So here's what I would challenge, because I want to get into this. I listened to the city council meeting. I listened to Arsenault. That was nothing but political posturing horseshit. I challenge every one of y'all, even though you don't listen to the show, I challenge every one of you to get out of the city council meeting. Don't go ride in the float, dress incognito, and walk up and down the parkway and walk up and down Shreveport-Barksdale Highway right there. Walk up and down that like a regular person and see what kind of shenanigans go on. So, when I posted that video, I didn't think it was that bad, except I agree that woman was out of line and shouldn't have been talking to the grandmother that way and the whole 9 yards. I fully agree with that. But I posted that because of the political tie-in. Tommy Chandler, mayor of Bossier City, made some comments not too long ago on Keel. I think maybe it was Mike or Aaron asked him about bringing the parades back to Shreveport. And he made the comment, or back to Bossier City. And he made the comment, well, I'm paraphrasing, but something we might look into or something we might consider. Duke, we've talked about the parades in Bossier before. And I'll say it from the business perspective. You can give it from being a fireman and an EMT perspective. But, when those parades are coming into town and coming through there, at least on the Bossier side, that shuts all the business off. And look, the parade goers don't spend that much money. Yeah, they may be running in and out of Walmart or Super One over there by East Kings to go get alcohol and maybe some Solo cups, but they're not spending that much money at all those local businesses because most people bring their own stuff. So I see it as a detriment to the business of Bossier. Give me your thoughts, your perspective. Do you agree, disagree with me?
Well, yeah, but in that discussion, you got to consider the route. And there was a time when the route was on Airline Drive, and there were businesses that it did kind of block out, and you had a lot of issues. But Bossier, if Bossier was inclined to try to do that, and I will tell you that I talked to an old Mardi Gras person, and I know some of the people that were some of the original founders of the Mardi Gras, activities in Shreveport Bossier area. I mean, I knew them before that, and I know of their original, work in getting that thing going. And I also, as well, know of kind of the history of why it left Bossier. And, it comes down to a security thing, it comes down to a money thing. And the bottom line is Bossier just, they didn't see the return on money to be able to justify doing it. And there were, you got to consider we got Barksdale here, and you're going down South Bossier, traffic. It caused a lot of problems. So Bossier City made the collective decision to not, continue to have it over here for a multitude of reasons. And with that said, it seems like I don't go to the parades in Shreveport, but it seems like to me that Shreveport said, "Hey, let's have it." And you know what? In some senses, they've took the position of we're just going to let it be a free for all. And the bottom line is even if they didn't want to do that, there's no way they can manage all of that. And stuff like what just happened in this incident, guy, it probably happens 100 times or more in every one of these parades. I mean, I don't know that anybody would contend that, but for me, this whole incident is there, and I ain't heard anybody saying it, but this is something more. This is something more because, you know, the older lady, I don't condone anything of what the lady, that was cussing and what you could hear was saying. I don't condone all that. But the grandmother who is alleged to be the person that was, the victim in this, she kept saying something about, her brother.
Yeah.
Who
Who
is
is your
her
brother?
brother? Who is her brother? And then the next thing you know, this video emerges, and there is a social media campaign to vilify this girl who was wrong in all of her cussing and to go after her and this family,
Right.
and death threats and
Well,
all of that crap. It
yeah.
was an organized hit job.
It was an
And
organized mob, social media mob. It was. Look, let me throw this in there. There was the lady over in Texas, and I think she's from Weatherford, Texas. We shared her video out. She kind of looks similar to this, the girl from Bossier, but this photographer lady from Texas is a little bit older, so she doesn't, look just like her or anything. She has a very similar name. The mob jumped on her. This poor woman was getting death threats, rape threats, everything because the mob rule piled on her and decided that she was a target and she was the one that had done this. And this poor woman was scared to death. We shared her video out too. So I did it in the Facebook post, but I would ask and encourage everybody from the show, go find that, scroll down her Facebook feed, go to that lady's post, not ours, and leave her an encouraging comment and let her know, there are a lot of people from Louisiana that don't try to act like that. Now, there was some other video of the actual incident at the parade of the same girl who was obviously inebriated too. Again, that's no excuse. She should have been talking and acting the way that she did to the grandmother. But there's other video of her as well, talking and acting the same basic way and belligerent to other people that were just walking up and down the parade route. So it's not like she just, and I'm not defending her, but it's not like she just targeted this grandmother. She was pretty much targeting anybody that she thought was going to encroach on her little spot, which you can't reserve anyway. It is a first come, first serve deal, but it's kind of like standing in line. I was brought up, you don't cut in line. If you get to the line and the line's long, wait your turn. It's the way I was brought up. I'm not going to violate that rule. My kids, growing up, oh, Dad, let's go up there and cut in line. And we know this person. Let's go up. No, we're not. You're not going to do it. So, I don't know. The whole situation all the way around was bad. We did share it out because the Shreveport PD issued a arrest warrant for her or got a warrant signed. I don't know. But, so, okay, at that point, it's not just mob rule. It's, she was legally bound. I think she did turn herself in. They got her mug shot. She probably bonded right out or whatever, no big deal. So again, I want to relate that the reason we shared that out was because I want to know everybody's opinions about, should the parades come back to Bossier? Should Bossier start up our own parades? What do y'all think in the comments? It does affect businesses because when they close the parade route down, that shuts off the businesses down there, except for the people that are already there. And they're not real, except for the grocery stores, the dollar stores, or whatever, and the liquor stores. They ain't shopping or participate in those businesses. Very, very little, because everybody brings their stuff with them for the most part.
Yeah, that's right. No doubt. Well, look, I think we're the only ones talking about Mardi Gras parades. Looks like everybody's still talking about in the comments the
HOA.
homeowners HOA. There's some pretty daggum good comments in there. I think probably ought to put up and kind of go through.
Yeah, we're sitting out here on an island talking about the Mardi Gras parade, and everybody else is on the HOA. All right, let me scroll through some of these comments. So
yeah, they're all like, that is so last week.
Yeah.
Guys, move on.
Yeah, we're old stuff here. All right, so I'm going to try to flag some of these. If you're commenting about the Rosedale HOA, put Rosedale or HOA in your comment. That way I can search through and find it pretty easy. Some of these are pretty long. I'm not going to, well, maybe I'll switch screens and do it. All right.
Holy schmoly.
All right.
There's one from Kaylee Larkin. Good grief.
All right.
Let me see that one.
Yeah, let me find it here. Hold on. Let me do a little searching. Let's see. All right. I'm going to switch screen. I'm going to put us over to our screenshots deal, and that way some of these longer comments, I can put this up there. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Rosedale some. So, folks, I'm going to try to go back through these comments. Hold on just a second. Duke, you can ramble on if you want. All right, Kaylee Larkin says, we might all get sued by the HOA after this.
Right. Well,
all right. Ours just put up a fence 2 feet taller than the covenants allow, 1 foot taller than the city allows, all without a permit. I would assume that's your neighbor, Kaylee, that may have done that. All right. Boy, this is a long comment. Holy crikey.
Do we have aldermans? No. She's not an alderman. That's her last name. I'm sorry, Miss Marsiglia. Charlotte Marsiglia Alderman.
Yeah. All right. Now this
is that the one you got?
Yeah, and this is going to be, I know the font's small, folks, so let me kind of read it as I'm showing it up there. All right, hold on, Duke. Let me read through this. All right, so Charlotte Marsiglia Alderman says, I'm concerned about the lack of transparency and accountability in Rosedale's governance. The board and property manager, get back up there, dadgummit,
are enforcing rules selectively and making changes without proper approval. This has resulted in multiple lawsuits against homeowners. The recent annual meeting was also poorly managed, with residents being silenced and intimidated. We need to demand from our leaders. 2H, reply, Gary Alderman. My wife and I have a pool in our backyard. Before they widened Wimple Road and put a walking trail behind us, we didn't have any real problems with stalkers. Several years ago, my grade school grandchildren were swimming in our pool, and sliding down the slide, my wife noticed a stalker standing on the walking trail staring at my grandchildren. It was time to have a new fence put up, so my wife requested a board on fence for privacy, safety, and security. We replaced our fence after having submitted to AAC requests. We were denied both, as they stated it was not in our covenants. A board member has the same fence we were wanting, as do several other homeowners. The Homeowners Association filed a suit against us after putting our board on board fence up. There were several other neighbors who replaced their fence without getting approval or submitting an AACC request. Nothing was done to them. We are on the south side of the neighborhood, and Wimple Road is behind our house. My wife found a home on the north side of our neighborhood who also had a board on board fence. that she has had up for 2 or 3 years, who never put in a request to replace her board on board perimeter fence, nor was she sued. I have asked repeatedly for this property manager to have an external audit, as she has not had one since she became property manager. I have questioned the selective enforcement and changing the covenants to benefit them. I believe that is why we are retaliated. We have lived here for 27 years, and this board and property manager need to be investigated. 2H reply edited. Gary Alderman, what really gets me is I want to go to court, but Rosedale Homeowners Association keeps getting our case continued. Reply to Gary Alderman, the real issue is that Rosedale Homeowners Association created an homeowners association in 1997. We moved in Rosedale in 99. In our articles of incorporation, declaration of covenants, and restrictions and bylaws that Rosedale Homeowners HOA filed stated our HOA couldn't be canceled or merged with another HOA unless the homeowners voted, and the vote to approve passed with 90% approval. In 2008, 3 neighbors decided to create Rosedale Place HOA without the homeowner's approval. Rosedale Place HOA is not our legal HOA and shouldn't be collecting our dues or taking us to court because the homeowners never voted to get out of Rosedale Homes HOA. Well, that's it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem. So let me catch up on comments again real quick here.
And that was actually Kaylee Larkin copied and pasted from a previous post. That was a dialogue that was taking place. I don't know who, but exactly all, but.
Right. Let's see. Kaylee also says some of us can, oh, good grief. Some of us can paint, build, put up a fence without any care, and others have to fill out, provide 3 documents via their online platform in order to fix one boot on our roof that was damaged in the ice storm. Sounds like they've got some real issues going on there. Let me see if I can adjust these comments back.
You know,
so
I remember, what was it, National Night Out? We went to Rosedale and we went to the little place with the swimming pool and all that. And, you know, we kind of generally talked to people. I didn't hear any of this back then. But I dang sure didn't hear people saying they were eager to get annexed into Bossier City.
No, they absolutely weren't eager to do that. Look, here's the deal with an HOA. It's like I told my, best friend for 30-something, 40-something years. Well, you signed the contract when you moved in. Now, I understand there may be some shenanigans going on with the Rosedale thing, so hear me out before everybody gets out their torches and pitchforks with that. But you agreed to move in a subdivision with a little micro system of private bureaucrats that control how you look and feel. It's like I told Mike, I was like, I am not moving into a subdivision. I'm not going to build or spend the money on a house, spend $180,000 on a house or whatever, to have some people tell me that I can't put my boat in my driveway. That's not happening. And live 8 feet from the next house. I'm just not doing that. So I feel for you, especially if the HOAs are being a pain or doing anything illegal or whatever. But the other side to me is you moved in there and signed the contract.
Well, look, hey, I hate to distract from Rosedale, but let's jump back. We got a few Mardi Gras comments. Cindy Ulrich says, it helped that the mayor stated on the news, people can walk up and stand in front of you if they want to.
Well,
that's awesome. So the next parade, and there another one coming up here, everybody needs to go out there and just start standing in front of people and see what happens.
Well, all right. So here's the deal. Yeah, he did, I think, say that. I don't remember what he said verbatim, but here's the deal. It is a public street and public right-of-way. If you're standing on the street, Duke, or on the sidewalk on the public right-of-way, I can walk right up to you and stand right beside you. Now, there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, you and I can get in a fist fight, but then we can also get arrested for assault and battery.
Yeah, but that's not. They didn't say stand beside me. They said stand in front of you.
You can.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's get it on.
I mean, that's the way I would be. I'd be like, okay, this is worth an assault and battery charge. Let's do it. I will do that for plastic beads.
I mean, if the mayor of Shreveport is encouraging people to go stand in front of somebody else in the middle of a parade, I mean, this is going to get good.
Oh yeah, he's encouraging the mob. That's why I encourage them. Let's see the suits and the ones in the dresses that are grandstanding in front of the cameras and the microphones at the city council meeting. Let's see y'all walk down there in plain clothes and do that at that parade. I want to see you do that. Let's see you go down there, Mr. Tom. No bodyguards, no Shreveport PD cops. Just walk down there and do that.
Well, okay, that was our one comment. Back to Rosedale. I mean, I don't like homeowners association stuff, and I gotta parrot what you were just saying. You were being a whole lot nicer than me, but if you move into a subdivision where you got all these stinking rules, you're subjecting yourself to that. I mean, and a lot of, I get it. Somebody said they've been there for 27, 28 years, and maybe that wasn't the way it was when you moved in there, but now you've got people that are wanting to. I mean, the bottom line is there's going to be a lot of people that are supporting enforcement, but their problem and kind of being real strict. But the problem is if that is the decision that's made by management, they can't selectively do it. It's one size fits all or not. And if you can't enforce it 100% equally amongst everybody, you shouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I feel for you. Mr. Alderman, I still want to talk to you tomorrow. Still want to probably do an interview with you or have you on the show next week, and we'll do a follow up to this. Because your HOA is not the only one that's a pain in the ass. I don't think I know anybody that actually likes their HOA unless they're on the HOA board. I don't think in all my computer customers in all these years that live in subdivisions with HOAs, I have never heard them say, I like my HOA. As a matter of fact, I've heard the opposite comment sometimes when they're trying to figure out how to attach a document that they have to email into the HOA for whatever reason. They generally curse the HOA. Why would you want to add another bureaucracy layer on top of the existing parish and city government, and they're bad enough in a lot of cases? Why would you want to add on a private bureaucracy in an HOA? I just don't get it. I understand a lot of people live in HOAs, and I can understand the theoretical advantages of them. They make all the houses look the same. They all look like, what was that movie with the little girl? Poltergeist. That's what I always think of in an HOA. All the houses look the same, pretty much, if you kind of squint your eyes a little bit. And to me, that's what an HOA does. Oh, you have to have this paint scheme. You have to have this roof pitch. You can't use this color shingle, but you can use this one. You have to have this many trees in your yard, or you can't have any trees in your yard, whatever the deal is. That's when I hear HOA, that's what runs through my mind.
Well, you never cease to amaze me because I did not have poltergeist on my bingo card. I didn't see that one coming, I admit. I guess I'm gonna have to watch.
You remember the movie with the little girl and
I
the
remember
TV?
it, on the TV. But what does that have to do with? I don't have to watch the movie.
It's the scene of their subdivision, and basically all the houses are mostly the same. Now, I will say this: I'll use Tigger on.
So you're saying that little girl's running around somewhere in Rosedale? That's what you're saying?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the ghost of her that's causing all these issues in Rosedale. Who knows?
Well, no. See, like
maybe she's infected. The poltergeists have infected the Rosedale HOA.
It was not the little girl that did it for me in the movie Poltergeist. It was that dude with that weird hat with that damn pale skin, that scary dude that was like some possessed preacher or something.
Oh, I like the little short lady that was like the seance lady. because she had that little whiny, nasally voice, but she was the best one in the whole movie. But anyway, so we're digressing.
I can see that lady running around somewhere. I can envision her in countless subdivisions across Bossier Parish.
Yeah, Rusty Maddox says HOA equals Karen. Let's see. Miss Charlotte says, I am all for the covenants, but they are not enforced equally. We never had a problem until 6 or 7 years ago. The elections are also suspect as a property manager goes around the neighborhood and collects proxies as to who she wants to get elected. Well, here's what I can tell you with that. Go video all this happening and go to the HOA meetings and video it and call these people on the phone. Louisiana is a one-party state, so you can record the phone call and record all this, and let's post it on social media. Let's shine a big old spotlight on them.
John Glover says, come to the light, Caroline.
Exactly. See, Miss Glover recognizes that. She remembers it.
She does. Good job, Miss Glover.
Yeah, this is not your normal pain in the butt HOA. This one is way out of control. Well, let's shine a light on them. Look, everybody has one of these in their pocket. Everybody watching this show has one, whether you have an iPhone or Android or whatever. Everybody's got one. You would not believe the power that you hold in your pocket to embarrass the hell out of people. People don't like to be embarrassed and have a camera shined on them.
Wait a minute. We've got an update.
Are we getting sued already? We're not even an hour into the show.
Not yet, but we've got new information that's spreading light on what's going on here. Kaylee Larkin just posted and said, my favorite one-liner from the property manager is how it was a benefit for her to be dating the gay guy.
Because we got better service and stuff for free, reduced. Oh, this is getting interesting. This is straight up into the drama. It's soap opera time.
This is rich.
We have devolved a lot on this show in the last 5 minutes.
And y'all are complaining about your property manager? It's taking one for the team?
Wow.
I guess I'm missing it here now. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop. I better stop.
Yeah, we're gonna
get. We are gonna get sued.
Yeah, we are. Let's move on to the safe stuff. The Echols versus Miguez. So let me reiterate again, real quick, before we get off the topic here. Mr. Alderman, again, just reach out to me tomorrow. You got my phone number or whatever, and we'll try to set this up if we want to do a follow-up. All right. Let's move into this. So that's the end of the Rosedale segment. For those folks watching, we hope that you continue watching, because every now and then we do give out little tidbits of information or something that's kind of entertaining. But let's move into this Echols versus Miguez. I'm going to have to do a meme deal with AI with those two boxing or duking it out, or, well, shooting it out, because, you know, Miguez is a pretty good shot with a pistol.
Well, it's not necessarily that. I mean, here's the thing. You know, there's people who are friends of ours that have been weighed into this Senate race dialogue stuff, and maybe the meme that you need to create is one of them fighting themselves, because now they've dug that hole so deep that, and I know they're fans of two of the candidates that have already qualified in that particular race. And we're talking about the Congressional District 5 race. But I guess to step back, maybe a lot of y'all may not be paying attention. You may not have followed all of this, but as you know, we have been like a jungle type system or whatever, but we've moved to a closed primary system, specifically in regards to our U.S. Senate candidates and our congressional candidates. So qualifying is this week, and it will only be Republicans running against Republicans and Democrats running against Democrats, right?
Right.
And the party gets to choose which of the Republicans they want to represent them. And so that is a new dynamic that a lot of you have not experienced and you've not seen. So the U.S. Senate race, Bill Cassidy's seat, you had a lot. Blake Miguez threw his name in the hat. John Fleming threw his name in the hat early. He's a Northwest Louisiana guy. You had some other folks in there. Well, as things kind of started shaking out, Julia Letlow, as a lot of you know, threw her name in the hat she's going to run for the Senate, which kind of was not a surprise. I pretty much knew that was going to happen. And so here we are. Her seat's open. Well, now the people that are jockeying for that is a pretty wide field. Blake Miguez jumped out of the Senate race
Right.
to jump into the congressional race for her seat.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see here. So if you want to pull up, we had Mike Echols on the show not too long ago.
Right.
And I was kind of prodding Mike because I knew Mike was gonna I knew Mike had been interested in it. I knew he had been kind of looking at it or what have you. Well, Mike finally made his announcement today or yesterday that he's getting in the race. And right out of the gate, he's firing shots.
All right. And let me, because I changed screens here, let me set the context for what I'm showing on the screen right now. Jamie Marie Pope, pretty good friend of ours. We've had her on the show before, and, she's pretty active in political circles and all that. Her and Jill Hines, who we've had on the show many times. Jill's a great person as well, and we think of her as a friend too, but they were both absolutely had dug their heels and nails, I guess as the case may be, into the Blake Miguez for U.S. Senate camp. And oh no, he ain't getting out of the race. He's not getting out of the race. Just talk to him. Blake got out of the race, jumped over, running, like you said, for Julia's congressional seat now that she's running in the Senate race. And Jamie Marie is a big friend of Mike Echols, and Mike's a good guy. So it's kind of ironic to me that she had put this birthday post up yesterday, which, hey, politics is politics, but she put up this birthday post extolling Mike's virtues, and again, Mike's a great guy. And so I want y'all to remember that as I get this video queued up for Mike Echols for basically his Senate race announcement. Let me get this thing queued up here. So do I have that pretty much?
Yeah, and
correct.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And Jamie Marie is doing a little podcast that and I watched some of them, and I think she's doing a good job. And
she's well spoken.
Her most recent one was with, ironically, Mike Echols. Now, there was no discussion about him jumping in a race and him and who they. And look, Jamie Marie is an admin on the Mike Echols for Congress page.
And if you go back and look on her post for Miguez, you'll understand what we're talking about. I mean, they were going at it with John Fleming directly, Fleming versus me. It was this big drama fest and big soap opera that, was blown up on social media in the political circles and all that. So, all right. So with that context, I'm going to hit play on the Mike Echols video. And look, I got to say, the Miguez for Senate when he was running for Senate, but now he's running for the congressional seat because he bailed out of the Senate seat. But his video, I thought, was one of the best campaign videos I've seen. It was really cool graphics and shooting and all kinds of stuff that I love. I got to say, Echols is coming out of here swinging right out of the gate. So here we go.
John David Lyles, don't jump the cat yet. We're going to answer that question.
All right, here we go.
My name is Michael Echols. I'm chairman of the Louisiana House Republican delegation. I'm a husband, a father, a businessman, and a job creator. And I'm proud to announce that I will be running for Congress in the 5th District. I've been with President Trump since before it was cool, way before the golden escalator. And I'm eager to go to Congress and fight alongside him. But meet my opponent, Blake Miguez, who's the so-called top shot who just keeps shooting blanks. Miguez lives in New Iberia, a few miles from the Gulf of America, but has decided to carpetbag his way into the 5th District over 100 miles away from the district lines. Why? Because Blake is a political opportunist who just wants to be somebody, driven by nothing more than ambition, with little regard for the needs of the real people he frankly struggles to understand or relate to. District 5 deserves someone who lives and breathes here. From North Louisiana to Greater Baton Rouge and the Florida parishes, the federal courts reshape District 5. That means the next member of Congress must be prepared to represent every community, every parish, every voice within it. How can someone do that from Acadiana? This seat is not a stepping stone for someone chasing the next title. I'm asking you to stand with me as we reject politics driven by the pursuit of power and instead choose service over self-interest.
Well, what do you say to that, Mr. Lowry?
What I would say is I am waiting on pins and needles to see Jamie Marie and our other friends' response to that video.
I agree. And don't forget, Jamie, Marie, and Jill, we're now talking about the congressional seat, not the U.S. Senate seat, because Blake dropped out of the U.S. Senate seat, just in case y'all aren't aware.
So look, I think the argument, look, and we've not taken a position in this race. I consider Blake a friend. I consider Mike a friend, and he's not the only one in this race. There's other folks in this race that I consider them friends too, and I like them. But I mean, is that a fair shot?
Yeah, everything he said was a fair shot.
I mean, in your view, was there anything dirty there?
No, everything he stated was a fact. Now, I'm sure Blake will probably, his campaign will probably have another return shot, and, they'll return fire too, but he didn't say anything that was out of line. He didn't mince words. He didn't manipulate numbers, nothing like that. Everything he said was true. And he didn't, he called him a carpetbagger too, including shooting blanks, a carpetbagger who shoots blanks.
So everybody needs to get used to this, because this is the new norm, that you're going to have people that are ideologically aligned. They're probably not going to have a different vote on anything, that are going to have to find ways to differentiate themselves from their opponent and, be the strongest candidate for their party. But at the same time, when you do this, you're tearing at each other and tearing each other apart. And I'm not saying it's not right, because I believe that the strongest person needs to be who the nominee is. And we've had too many times that we ultimately have the weakest person get in there, that from my viewpoint, from a conservative standpoint, that are not a true limited government conservative. It's not. I don't think they're the best candidate.
Yeah,
This is supposed to root that out.
I would absolutely agree with you. I see this, I see this as a good race. And like you said, there is more than one candidate, obviously. I don't even know who all's running for it. Now, it's like everybody that was in the Senate race jumped ship and jumped over there and left Fleming sitting there kind of holding the bag against Cassidy.
Well, it just so happens, cut CD5.
Okay.
It just so happens that I took time today to check, who had qualified in every one of the congressional districts again, and the Senate race today. I didn't think that probably Cassidy or Letlow would have qualified today, because they actually were they had a vote. They had a vote on the Save America Act, to which it failed because you didn't reach the threshold. The filibuster thing. A lot of people probably don't understand that, but that's another discussion down the road. But in this race of Congressional District 5, look at that, Rex. Read all those names off there.
We've got Misty Cordell, Mike Echols, Rick Edmonds. I didn't realize Rick Edmonds was in that race. Okay, Austin McGee, Michael Mabrewer, Blake Miguez, and Sammy Wyatt is in that race?
Well, he jumped in it. He was the first one to switch over from the Senate to that. He was the first guy.
I would. No offense, Sammy, because Sammy's always been real nice to me, but I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I would the main names here. I mean, Misty Cordell. I like Misty Cordell. She has a little bit of name recognition, but I don't think her name recognition rises to the level of Mike Echols, Rick Edmonds, or Blake Miguez. I mean, those are your front runners. There will most assuredly be a runoff in this deal. I got to tell you, even though Jeff Sadow points out, a $2 million deficit to Blake Miguez, which that was primarily raised for a Senate race that he's going to be able to use in this race. In that district, I would bet that Mike Echols' polling is probably the highest in that race.
Really? Yeah, probably is. Probably is.
Well, and somebody's saying Stuart Cathy. I know I saw a letter and that Stuart Cathy wasn't going to run for it. Now that may have changed. There's still time. He could walk in tomorrow and qualify, but I saw a letter that he delineated that he wasn't going to run.
Well, either way, it is going to be interesting to say the least, the way I see this. And I'm trying to. I've got a text message we'll talk about here in a minute, but I'm trying to get it kind of ready with a screenshot. So bear with me for a second here.
Okay, well, cut CD4. So I saw a lot of people have been asking a question about, well, how can you not live in the district and run for the office? Well, if you look at Congressional District 4, we not only have somebody that doesn't live in the district, they don't even live in the damn state.
That's got to be a typo. That says Benton, Arkansas. Or maybe they were talking about Benton, Louisiana, but they got the area code wrong too.
Nope, that's 100% correct.
He's using a Proton mail address.
That's pretty cool. Well, people would say, a lot of people, well, now we know Jeff Sadow's a high achiever, but you don't actually have to live in the state to be able to qualify and run for one of these offices.
Wait, repeat that again. I was reading the comments. Say that again. What did you say?
You don't actually have to live in the state to run for one of these offices.
Huh. This is an odd analogy here, but that's kind of like when you go to a public meeting, you don't have to live in the town or the city or the parish or even the state to speak at the meetings. You can just speak during the comment period. It's kind of like that, but I did not realize that about our congressional districts. That is very interesting.
So as I appreciated it, and I did a little search so that I would read it correctly, and Jeff said I wouldn't have to correct me, but I'm sure I will say something that's wrong, and he still will correct me. No offense, Jeff, keep me straight. But, Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution sets the basic qualifications for House members. And, that is that they be at least 25 years old, a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, and an inhabitant of the state. Not necessarily the district, an inhabitant of the state at the time of election. Now, somebody may say the state of Louisiana, or the state being the country. That's the debate I've been hearing. That's the point and the argument, because how can you got Blake 100, as Echols eloquently put, he's 100 miles from the district, and I don't think any of that's right. I really don't. I don't agree with any of it.
If he wants to run and people want to elect him, I'm actually good with that. should he, because he does live in the state. Now, should he win? Well, no, but that's up to the voters of the district. Now, I just looked up the word inhabitant on the dictionary from the Oxford Dictionary just to see. I know what an inhabitant is, but just to see technically what the dictionary says. It says a person or animal that lives in or occupies a space. If we go by, I guess, the literal definition, as long as the guy was occupying some part of Louisiana.
Well,
maybe he stayed in a hotel at a Holiday Inn Express.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not convinced that this fella isn't trying to educate everybody, and he's using this opportunity to educate everybody. And the reason I say that is because he did this the last time. He qualified and ran with this Arkansas address and ran. He's using a Proton Mail account, like you pointed out. I think the guy is just trying to make a point. No way he thinks he's going to beat Walk on Water. But how many people you didn't even acknowledge it first yourself, and I'll admit that I didn't. But basically, it says an inhabitant of the state at the time of the election. I think a lot of people just learned something.
Oh, well, all right. So I'm just trying to analyze that in my head. Maybe, at the time of the election, if he moves down here and inhabits the state, or he's occupying some place in the state, he comes down here for the campaign watch night. He's occupying a place in the state. If we're going to go literally, words have meaning, as Richard Ray, the famous lawyer, tells us all the time.
Yeah. So with all of that said, you guys have got to pay attention. I think May 6th, I may be wrong, May 6th or May 16th is going to be the date of the, primary or the closed party primary election. I think there's only one Democrat has qualified in the Senate race, and there's one Democrat, I think, in Congressional District 4 that's qualified. But, you guys are going to be doing a lot of voting coming up, and you're going to have to pay attention. If you don't have your party affiliation squared away, if you are like an independent, there's a little bit of an issue there. You better be paying attention on that, because you may be expecting or thinking you're going to go get to vote, and that the day of the election, you may be prompted to, change your party affiliation or something like that.
Very interesting. Okay. We've done parade posturing. We've done Echols. We talked about Rosedale. I just and we'll talk about Benton here in a minute. I just got a notification. I already knew they were going to look at it, but we talked about the water and Caddo Lake situation, the NDA situation with the Blanchard mayor, Jim Galambos, the whole water debacle with Blanchard Water and Mooringsport Water. What was it, last week or whenever? And they had to shut the schools down, and he went on keel twice, by the way, not once, but twice. And the second time he was on keel, he told Aaron, and I quote, I don't even remember being on your show last week. I gotta transcribe that video and post that one just to make fun of the guy. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so that whole situation with drawing water, for folks that are watching that don't know, Mooringsport is literally on Caddo Lake, right there at the bridge that crosses over Caddo Lake, or one of the bridges. And Mooringsport leases an intake area right there on the lake to Blanchard. Blanchard pumps water to Blanchard, treats the water, sells it back to Mooringsport, to Oil City, I think even to Gillum and several other communities there. The Blanchard mayor has signed an NDA, and interestingly, Duke, the attorney for this mysterious company with the data centers, his firm represents the town of Blanchard. Did you know that?
You said his firm.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Represents
I
the
did
town
not.
of,
I
yes,
did not
this
know
is
that.
a twisted thing. And Galambos won't say a word. He just immediately refers back to the lawyer. And we're going to talk some more about that on another show. But anyway, here's the interesting thing tonight. So let me get this queued up. Give me just a second here. And this was just shared out to me by our good friend Chris Crackman, who is the Caddo commissioner over there for the district that includes all of that area, or most of that area over there. But here is what the town of Mooringsport just passed tonight at their town meeting. And let me preface this with Chris Crackman attempted to get the Caddo Commission to pass a kind of similar resolution to this, but one that was going to put a moratorium on any further industrial water sales from in Caddo Parish for 1 year until they could study whether or not the water draw from Caddo was going to be detrimental to Caddo Lake and the whole ecosystem or not. Just 365 days, put a moratorium on it. Let's do a study and figure out, because everybody has their own opinion. I've got mine. I can back my opinion up, but everybody's got their opinion. Well, the Caddo Commission wouldn't even give him a second. And they all did their little political posturing, grandstand BS. Well, our good friend Danny McCormick, who is the state rep from over there, is moving forward with some legislation, or going to try to move forward with some legislation similar to Crackman's Caddo Commission ordinance that he attempted. But now Mooringsport has just passed this resolution tonight, and it is a resolution stating the conditional position of the village of Mooringsport regarding any proposed additional industrial scale withdrawal of water from Caddo Lake through the municipal intake property that is leased to the town of Blanchard. Remember, the town of Blanchard has a 99-year, $100 a month lease for this water intake property from Mooringsport, which is located on the lake. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but the conditional position is the village of Mooringsport hereby adopts the position that no additional industrial scale water withdrawals utilizing the municipal intake property shall be supported or consented to by the village until comprehensive independent environmental and hydrological impact studies are completed. Such studies shall include long-term hydrological, if I can talk tonight, modeling, including drought conditions, cumulative withdrawal, impact analysis, ecological impact, blah, 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 blah.
You know what? You're reading that. It makes me think that Mr. Crackman he probably is in favor of a study on unharvested flooded corn too.
Yeah, we should try to get one of those from the Caddo Commission, because it's got to be affecting the duck hunting on Caddo Lake. That's right there in your district there, Mr. Crackman. And you too, Danny, by the way. Y'all both
it
got Caddo
is.
Lake.
Yeah, but they probably got a flooded corn pod up there in Oil City somewhere, and they probably don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Probably not. All right, let me add in this last part. Such renegotiation may include, but shall not be limited to, defined withdrawal caps, drought trigger protections, compensation adjustments, reopener clauses, infrastructure protections, and environmental compliance provisions. Let me also add in again, the mayor of Oil City, Cheryl Driscoll, was in Baton Rouge last week meeting with whoever in Baton Rouge. We mentioned this on the last show. She was on Keel. About Oil City getting back in the water business, where they don't have to depend on the whim of the Blanchard mayor to shut off their water, quite literally. So there's that.
Okay. I watched a little bit of the dialogue on that when Chris had posed that over there at the Caddo Commission, and I watched some of the other folks talking. It sounded like everybody was protective of, the lake, and they, I don't know, it may have been political shenanigans or whatever, but they seemed sincere about, they just wanted to make sure that, the right thing was being done, and they wanted to do it orderly. Now, I will say they were talking about wanting to send this to a committee. I guess they apparently have a natural resource committee, but in Bossier, when we hear we're going to send it to a committee, that's not a good thing.
No,
doesn't seem like.
Yeah, things don't tend to happen like the committee to figure out Richard Rosedale that we still are hearing crickets about, by the way, City Councilman and Chris Smith and Brian Hammonds. Crickets, boys, crickets. Yeah, well, so we'll see. This is, everybody's kind of jockeying around trying to put the brakes on or at least slow down this process for this data center. Now, as a reminder, and this is how it relates to Bossier Watch, number one, I go fish Caddo Lake a lot, quite a bit. But number two, this is the same company that's putting the data center in Benton. And mysteriously, everybody's NDA'd up about that too. Nobody's saying anything. So
I'm fine. Bring them all to Bossier. Data center. Come
we
to
got
Bossier.
the water. We got the water.
We got water. We're good with it. Don't mess with them people over there in Caddo. Y'all leave Chris and Danny alone. Y'all don't mess with them guys.
Chris says, leave me out of the corn, fellers. Come on, Mr. Crackman, go get your popcorn out.
Come on, y'all get in the corn. If y'all are closet cornholers, y'all need to just come on out and admit it publicly. Ain't no shame in it. I mean, I can ride the fence.
I fish on Caddo Lake during duck season. I try to be courteous, not getting away with the duck blinds. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of the duck blinds were empty this year, even though they're all brushed up and had just been redone. And all the times I've been out there fishing, there ain't been many ducks. I mean, I'm sure they killed a few, but I'm just saying, I've been out there in years past where, there was pellets raining down on you while you were fishing, no matter how close you were or not. Not this year. But anyway.
Well, anyway, I was going to go, you went Poltergeist. I was going to go Beavis and Butthead and Cornholio, but we'll skip that part. Bossier Arts Council, you raised Brian Hammonds. Yeah. I mean, we can't let Benton have all of the fun. I mean, Bossier City is ready to get back in the game and give us some content. Who knew?
Yeah. So what's going on with Bossier City and the Arts Council?
Well, allegedly, for the third year in a row, they have a non-compliance ruling from the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office against their organization. Now, why they have a non-compliance or what exactly is the problem, I don't know. I didn't have enough time to kind of dig into it and read, but what I do know is, the Advocate, the Shreveport Times, all of the, media kind of started touching on it, and we picked up on it in the agenda that came out from the Bossier City Council. And, they have an ordinance to basically stop their funding of the Bossier Arts Council to be on the next Tuesday's meeting. And then you found this.
Yeah, it was actually sent to us. It wasn't even on my radar because I've been busy with other things the past few days. But it says, attention, BAC friends and followers. This evening we have had some terrible, terrible news brought before us. It has been brought to our attention that the City Council of Bossier City has proposed an ordinance to terminate their cooperative agreement with us and have us evicted from the old municipal building on 630 Barksdale Boulevard, that which we call home. This comes during a time in which our current limited staff have been working hard to keep the organization functioning while we search for that executive director. This news comes after a recent story that the BAC has been deemed non-compliant with its financial reporting requirements for the third year in a row by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor. Something that our current staff of just three, has been left unaware of. We had no idea. but have been in the process of rectifying with the help of a new accountant and board leadership. We understand the concerns of the city, but we truly feel we can come to an agreement that leaves us here in the heart of Bossier City, making an artistic impact on our community. The City Council plans to review this ordinance next week, February the 17th at 3 o'clock p.m. We're asking all of you, our supporters, friends, and family, to come out and attend the Bossier City Council meeting next Tuesday and let them council members hear your voice. Let them know that the BAC is for the community and that we can do our best work where we have been for the last 45 years. We need your help, and we hope to see you there. God bless you.
Well, I must say your dramatic interpretation of Cool Hand Luke done by Bossier's Arts Council, okay, pretty good. I'll give you some credit. You did good.
I got to have a moment every once in a while.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Who knew? I mean, did you take drama class in school?
No, but I've been known to stir the drama up.
I know that firsthand. Well, hey, Christopher Haygood says y'all played a video where that guy Nathan promised the council they'd be in compliance. They failed. You know, it just so happens that we know what you're talking about, and we have it ready and queued up, I think, for everybody, don't we?
Well, we can real quick. So that was on the 21st of October. Is that the one?
Yeah, I dropped it in the notes there.
Okay, so give me just a second because I did not realize you had done that. Hold on one second.
Cool Hand Luke was a favorite movie of mine. I loved Cool Hand Luke.
Absolutely. All right. Do you remember what the timestamp is on that? There we go. 139.
Yep. Can't miss it.
Yep, got it. All right, so let me switch screens over here, and now, we'll play that.
Yeah, to set this up, you know, last year there were some questions regarding some funding that came down the pipe. The new council had been seated, and right out of the gate, you know, shots were fired, and Brian Hammonds in this case, Hambone, was taking some shots, and let's let everybody hear it.
All right, here we go.
You can shake your head. This is nothing personal. This is just coming from a city standpoint with, we have a new position coming up in the city that I think that they could handle this. I would like to make a budget amendment that the $50,000 to the Arts Council for the management of the plaza is revoked.
Oh.
Okay. Mr. Hammonds is making a motion that the $50,000 for the management of the East Bank Plaza currently appropriated to the Bossier Arts Council be removed. Is there a second to that amendment?
I'll second it with you.
All right, Mr. Cochran with the second. Is there any public comment? I was looking right at him. I knew he was about to come up here.
And this will be the feller. I wonder if he's the one that made that Facebook post.
We consider ourselves stewards of the citizens of Bossier City's money. We provide free entertainment to that plaza, which results in economic gain to the businesses around it. We use that $50,000 in the most expeditious way that we absolutely can. It is my firm belief, both as a private business owner and as someone who frequents the East Bank Plaza, not just because of my affiliation to the BAC, but because I live here, that has become a shining gem just in the entire northeast or northwest Louisiana region. I would urge you to give grave consideration to a thought of removing us as the entity that runs that plaza, because we run it for the citizens of Bossier. We don't run it for a profit. We don't run it to make anything out of it. We run that to ensure that all of the citizens of Bossier have an area that they can go, where they can afford, where they can see cultural events, unlike anything that they can see anywhere else in North Louisiana. I would just urge the council to give grave consideration.
Please don't throw me back
Removing
that
that funding from us would make it extraordinarily difficult to provide the type of event planning and projects that we have been able to do to date. And I think if we weren't the ones that were running it, I'm not sure you would see the same economic impact to the surrounding businesses. And I urge you, I know all of you to be reasonable people that are attempting to do the best that you can. I would just urge you to give consideration to those issues before you made such a vote. That's all I have. Thank you.
So I've got a couple of questions for you. So y'all had 4 events there last year?
No, sir. We had far more than 4.
Well, we didn't get a report, so we have no idea.
Absolutely understand
I
that,
mean, you
Councilman.
see where I'm coming from?
No,
We-
100%.
We fought this battle about 3 years ago. Myself, Councilman Smith, and Councilman Maggio, we fought this battle. And we were assured, when we gave them their funding back, that nothing like this would ever happen again. And here we are.
That's understood,
I mean,
Councilman.
they were supposed to give quarterly reports. As they gave reports, we would release more money. As they gave a report, we would release more money. So, you know, I mean,
All I can say in response to that, Councilman Hammonds, is at that point in time, I was not affiliated with the BAC, and the person who was tasked with that has resigned, largely after there were some discoveries of issues like this. I would say this to you in all honesty. Councilman Hammonds, I will come back here and lobby for you to take that $50,000 back from us if in a year you have any problems at all, provided we have until the end of the calendar year to make sure that we have the proper people in place. Now, I know you've been given that assurance before, and that's all I can do. I know what we're doing now, and I know what we're attempting to do. And I absolutely have to sit here and honestly acknowledge you are absolutely correct. The reporting that you have received has been insufficient. We have made
All right, I'm going to stop there because this goes on for like another 8 or 9 minutes. Do you remember how they voted?
Well, I think they ended up designating a new reporting system. They gave them the money, but this isn't the main enchilada. This was just a small little portion, I think. But they ended up coming up with another system of reporting simply for them to the city of Bossier. But the problem here for the Bossier Arts Council is they've got a problem with the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office. This isn't a problem with Bossier City, you know.
Well, and look, I want to read this comment from Justin O'Connor. Says some useful context. The city council meeting was actually about requirements for reporting directly to, let me get it back up on the screen. I got to quit leaving these long comments. All right. About reporting directly to the city. They're actually totally separate from the legislative auditor's reporting requirements. The BAC's current staff, who are all below the empty director level, were unfamiliar with the LLA's yearly requirement. The city landed on being harsher about direct quarterly reporting, the deadlines for which haven't come up yet since they're quarterly. So you got a point, Justin. But here's the thing. The legislative auditor's office, it's not like they just require these and they don't send you letter after letter and actually send certified letters too. Period. Full stop.
Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate, like, at this meeting that we're reviewing, that was October of last year. And, you know, they came and and I'm paraphrasing what the gentleman is saying, but he's saying, you know, that, look, we've had a change in folks down here, and we're trying to get our arms wrapped around it. I appreciate all of that. Well, that was October. Um, you know, I, I don't know that it would take that long to get your arms around it. I mean, we're talking about what are we sitting on, 5 to 6
February?
months now?
Yeah, almost the middle of February.
Yeah, 5 to 6 months. I don't know. I mean, I expect the council meeting to be pretty lit with how long should it be expected for you to get your arms around things? And we don't have the legislative auditor's report, and we don't know specifically, um, the details. I'm real interested to see the details.
Right.
I am, and I'm not going to completely pass judgment on the situation, but we're living in the time and the day and age that accountability is a thing,
It
and
is.
nobody should be surprised that people are going to start being held, to a standard.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Speaking of holding to standards, as we start winding down the show, I want to play this video. It'll take me a second to get it queued up. I think I can talk while I'm queuing it up. So, we've been keeping an eye on the your neck of the woods up there as far as local government with the town of Benton, right? And
Benning.
Benton, Arkansas, who knows where it is now. And we were a little harsh to Mayor James Friday, and I think with good reason over some of his conduct during the meetings. But then again, we've also been not so nice to Alderwoman Tiffany Manning and Miss Carr, who is also an alderwoman up there, and the previous town attorney, who pretty much had his head in the sand or on social media the whole time, and they've since switched attorneys. I think they've got Naren in there now. And so things seem to have been going better. Kind of got off my radar, but Chris Redford follows that closely. He lives there. He, in full disclosure, ran against Tiffany Manning for alderperson, and she beat him. But, he's going up there and paying attention to that stuff. He posts the videos frequently, and he is a frequent and harsh critic of Miss Manning and Miss Carr both. Let's just say that. Well, in full disclosure, Duke, you and I have talked to Miss Manning before. And even in some of our Facebook comments, we have expressed to her, hey, do your own homework. This is not rocket science. Some of it may not be easy to understand when you're looking at the statutes and all that for open meetings and what you can do and what you can't do and blah, blah, blah. But y'all got it all at your fingertips. Start doing your homework and, shine the light here and there. Okay, so she's done some things. She's slipped up a few times and done, I would consider, some silly stuff at some of the meetings as well as Mr. Friday. And even Stephanie Collier, we pointed out some shortcomings of Stephanie at a couple of the meetings. So there's blame all the way around. But Tiffany posted this phone call that she recorded with James Friday, the mayor. And so I took her phone call and transcribed it real quick. I want you to listen to this for a few minutes and just everybody give me your opinion in the comments. And of course, Duke, I want you to chime in and let me know what you think about this. So y'all listen up. It's about 4 minutes.
This is the first I'm hearing of any of this. So
Yeah.
This is entertainment for me, just like y'all.
It's about 4 minutes, but I just want to put this out there and give me your comments on it, of course. All right, here we go.
Good morning.
Good morning, young lady. How you percolating?
I'm doing well. Look, I was calling because I saw the message and I haven't received a response on what's the conflict for Monday.
Well, I was out sick part of the week. Steffi's been out sick with her family and stuff, and then we've been running around here trying to get the parade stuff going, and it's just been really crazy up here all this week, and so it's just and instead of having two meetings, I told Steffi we'd just have one meeting because we're going to have another meeting on the 15th, which would be finalizing everything for the year to send in for the state of Louisiana. So she said, well, why don't we just do all of it at one meeting on the 15th, and that way everybody will get a chance to rest up and do what we got to do, because we're going to be busy Saturday and Sunday with trying to finish up the parade and stuff. I said, that's great. Let's do that, because I'm running behind time, and I've got things I got to do between now and I got to get busy this morning and play catch up with trying to find my car that's going to be available for me to drive in the parade and stuff. So we're just busy. That's just all. So instead of having two meetings, one on Monday night, this Monday night, and one next Monday night, we're doing it all in one night.
Wow.
All right, so I'm going to pause it right there for a second. So hearing that, what's your kind of knee-jerk reaction to it, just off the cuff?
I didn't hear anything of substance that really caught my attention or raised any red flags to me or nothing, other than the fact that the conversation's being recorded.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right. Now, state law, I think, only requires 4 meetings a year. That's all the requirement is. So they don't have to necessarily have 12 meetings a year or whatever they have. Does anybody in the comments that may be from Benton, does anybody know what ordinance they passed that specifies when their meetings will be held? Because that would kind of be the determining factor. Because here's my deal on it. You can just willy-nilly, because you don't feel good, decide you're not having a meeting?
well, I mean, if you're sick or you were sick, or and you're the person that's going to conduct the meeting, then I mean, yeah, I mean, I would think that he is the and again, I don't know. I think there's a reason he's the guy that chairs every meeting, and I think it's wrote down in their rules and of how things will be done. So
Probably so. We need to get a copy of those, or somebody needs to do a public information request. All right, here we go.
Why would we need the meeting for the 15th?
It's dealing with the budget and stuff. So
I'm not really clearly understanding. So the 8th is when we would be doing the budget.
yeah, but we're going to do all that. We'll do the approval and the finalizing of it and get it all sent in on the 15th.
I'm still not understanding why we're not able to have the meeting on the scheduled day.
Well, I do it Monday night, and I told her to change it to the 15th. So that's the only reason why, basically, is that I asked her to change it to make it easier for everybody to get all of our ducks in a row.
Everybody to get what ducks in a row? Because it's already
Tiffany, yeah.
Because I'm just letting you know, I'm going to call LMA and the Echols board.
Let us be managers of the town and run the town. And if you got some concerns, you can discuss them or later, but I don't have all the answers. I do not have all the answers that you want. I can't explain everything to you because it goes into great depth and detail. So everything is going to be just fine. Just be prepared for it to be on the 15th.
Mayor, with all due respect, we can't just change a meeting because we're tired or y'all, because the meeting is by ordinance, and there's no valid reason why you're changing the meeting from Monday to the 15th.
It's the only one that has any objection. If you can't make either one of the meetings, just let us know.
Now, I want to stop right there. How would he know that nobody else has any objection? If it's by ordinance, you see where I'm headed with this.
I would think that, it's if he's handling the meetings, it would be his prerogative as to whether they were going to cancel the meeting or hold the meeting. If people have indicated that they wouldn't be available on a certain date, as the person responsible for conducting the meeting, I would think that he would reschedule it or something of that nature. I'm not saying that's the case here. I don't know, but I mean, if like in Bossier City, I mean, how many times have they called a special meeting?
Well, they've called the special meetings, but how many times have they canceled the meetings? Except for acts of God, extenuating circumstances, ice storm.
Right. Well, look, I ain't.
Did they call one? Did they cancel the meeting when Vince was sick?
Was Vince sick?
Yeah,
Was
he
that
was
the
in the
time he ran
hospital or
across the
something.
parking lot?
Yeah, he
Oh,
was in the
that's right.
hospital or
That's right. No, they went to the hospital and took care of it with him.
Yeah, did they cancel the meetings when Jacobs, the city attorney, was out on medical leave? Did they cancel the meetings when Bubba Don wasn't there?
If
Okay,
you're looking
you
for
see
me
where
to,
I'm headed.
it's not my show to defend there.
All right. I'm not putting you on hot seat. I'm playing devil's.
No, I know.
But all right, let's finish this up.
I wish I could articulate an answer, but I can't articulate an answer here for this.
All right, here we go. We got about another minute. Just listen.
Can't make it, and we'll see you in January.
That is not the way.
If you can't make it, see you in January.
So
I have time to sit here and argue with you.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking you a question.
I've got things I've got to do this morning myself.
Okay, so you're moving the meeting for personal reasons because the town parade has never been an issue with us having meetings.
There has been a lot of things going on at the office, people being sick. We have not been able to.
The locusts.
What's going on with people being out for 2 weeks with illnesses and flu and first one thing and another. So basically, it's all due to illnesses that we're postponing.
So who's going to be sick on Monday that's not going to be able to make it?
Pardon me?
Who's ill that's not going to be able to make the meeting on Monday?
They're all back to work now.
Okay, so there's no reason why we can't have the meeting.
We're not going to have Monday night. That's fine. Okay? Go to your meeting at 9:05, then I will talk to you tomorrow. You keep the recording, and then we'll go with it from there, okay? I've got to get up.
Well, it sounded like he acknowledged that he was being.
Yeah. And Louisiana's a one-party state anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the staff, Stephanie, I mean, making the agenda, and I don't know the timeline here. I don't. It looks like this happened a while back, and you're trying to have. I mean, the parade in Benton is a big thing. There's a lot of planning goes into all of that. I get that.
There is, but come on. I realize you're trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I'm just saying, if they were, a lot of the employees were out sick, and probably some of, I mean, because wasn't they talking about the budget? I mean, you're going to prepare all the budgetary stuff for a meeting, and you've got the big parade thing going on. Benton does a good job with all of that.
Right, they do.
At the same time, and I don't know, maybe you couldn't get everything organized in time, and maybe it was justified to meet the meeting. I will tell you that since I've been on the phone, I've had people telling me that Bossier City cancels lots of meetings, and the most recent was their December 30th meeting, which was a regularly scheduled meeting that they canceled.
Now, what did they cancel it for? I don't remember.
I don't either. It ain't like that's something I track or keep up with. But to say that to say that a person that's responsible for having the meetings can't cancel a meeting because statutorily it says, by God, you got to have a meeting. Well, what if you all got Ebola? Y'all better show up. You better bring Ebola with you.
To quote my grandfather, and y'all hold your ears a little bit, those of you that have sensitive ears, if dogs had square assholes and ate dirt, they might shit bricks, but they don't. They didn't all have Ebola.
I ain't saying whatever, but I'm just saying the person over the meetings should always be able to have the authority to cancel a meeting.
I agree. So what I would counsel again, Miss Manning and the rest of the alder persons up there, if y'all don't like the way the meetings are run, you need to be passing ordinances that are legal to modify that. You've been advised of that before.
But I don't think that's what's happening here. What's happening
I don't think
here
it is here. They're stirring the pot.
you're stirring the pot. I mean, you like that, but recording conversations and playing gotcha, and that's talking about like what, January, and or was that Yeah, talking about. So it had to have been in December. It was a Christmas parade, so that was
I agree.
before.
Yeah,
That
this
would have
was in
been
December.
before Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Well,
why
and look,
is it just now coming out?
here, I want to let everybody know I don't say anything that I wouldn't put on a billboard on I-20. So I assume every phone call I'm on is being recorded. Now, somebody calls me, we're talking about confidential stuff, I'm absolutely not going to record them, but I just assume everybody's recording me. I don't say anything that I wouldn't say to somebody's face.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Yeah.
I mean, but look, you got to admit, I mean, maybe it was just trying to document, but it seemed like there was a little bit of gotcha in there too.
Oh, absolutely. They're playing tit for tat at every meeting. And look, I'm the first to admit Tiffany Manning has said some not so brilliant stuff at some of the meetings. So has the mayor. So there's plenty of it to go around. Y'all need to get your act together up there. All of you. And Redford, you're doing a fine job of the videos and calling people out. Keep posting them. That saves me from having to drive to Benton. All right, Mr. Lowry, have you had enough? Have you had enough of me stirring the pot tonight? I had you in the graphic actually stirring the pot. And you did it with Echols and Miguez. I mean, that was a pretty big one.
You know, okay. So I've got some trivia for you because I had a cut at the start of the show.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what country, does anybody in the comments, do y'all know what country Louisiana exports to the most?
Oh,
Products of Louisiana. Do you know what country Louisiana exports the most products to?
That is a good question. I have no idea, Mr. Lowry. I'm going to get the graphic queued up. I'm not going to put it up there yet. So just tell me when to hit the button.
Well, nobody's posting yet, but may take a second or two for folks.
Everybody may be asleep after the Benton stuff. So,
well, they probably. Terry Norris, look at there, the high achiever.
China.
Look at there. Texas, predictably, Mexico.
Imagine that. So all this talk about China, and the Chinese are spying on us, and we can't have drones from DJI because the Chinese are going to be spying on us. I mean, we'd let them have, weather balloons float across our continental U.S. for a week on end, but we're worried about their drones. And here we export the most to China, at least as of 2020. Is that what you're telling me?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's what I can tell everybody. I'm not against the tariffs. I understand, why Trump's doing it and pushing it. But remember, there's going to have to be some pain before there's some gain with those tariffs. They sound great and they're great for a campaign slogan till the costs go up because we don't like to pay for stuff made here in the U.S. because it tends to be more expensive. But I'll leave it at that. Jeff Sadow says, no DCs is Cutter. Terry Norris says all the peppers from Tabasco is grown in China. Jeff's first guess was Greenland. Maybe that's why Landry's headed to Greenland. He's going to look for ducks. All the mallards are in Greenland.
Maybe so. Oh, I'm looking for something. I guess I'm not going to be able to share it with you. Oh, well, maybe let's see.
Okay, so, hold on just a second. Let me see if I can get over to Duke's screen share. Ha! Look at there.
How about that? And this is an oldie, and a lot of you have probably seen this before. But as you were telling me about Benton, I couldn't help but this just popped in my head. Here we go.
Oh, no audio. Why don't we have audio?
We've got to figure that out.
Yeah. I'm not really sure why.
It ruined the moment. Yeah. It ruined the moment.
Can you drop it over in the deal real quick?
Yeah, I can, but Anyway,
Yeah.
I
All right.
I feel dumber now.
Well, maybe we'll lead off with that video next time. All right, Mr. Lowry. What else have you got that we can bore everybody with for hours on end?
The only thing I have for everybody is expect a surprise politically tomorrow.
Oh. Got my
So-
dander up there a little bit.
So when we had Echols on,
Mm-hmm.
you remember I tried to get Echols to, do you want to announce?
Right.
What and of course, he kind of grinned and he didn't say anything. I think I also said something about a chief of staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what I would tell
wait a minute. Are you telling me Miguez is going to drop out of the congressional race now for chief of staff?
I'm not telling you nothing
okay.
of the sort. In fact, I'm not telling you anything, but I am telling you that I feel like there's going to be possibly a political earthquake tomorrow. I don't know. And it may not happen. It may not happen, but I will tell you, so far I'm 2 for 3, and the third one hadn't happened yet, and it's maybe possibly going to be happening tomorrow.
Could be interesting. They're gonna make Jeff Landry president of Greenland or whatever they call their person over there.
Well, hey,
and Billy Dungesser is going to be governor.
Do they have ski resorts in Greenland? I don't know.
It's called Greenland. No, it's not Iceland. That's a different country. But I think they do have a lot of ice over there now because, again, we're coming off the last ice age.
Oh, yeah, global warming. I know you tree hugger.
Yeah, I love trees. Especially when I've got a chainsaw buried in them, cutting them down.
They just stopped letting y'all put those hooks through those fish's mouth,
I get hung up in trees all the time.
Yeah.
Bury hooks in them. Anyway, we're rambling. What else, Mr. Lowry? Any other sage predictions?
Good night. That's all I got. I gave y'all a hint.
We're out of here. I'm going to hit the finish button in 3, 2, 1.